Yeah, I think they are. Do you get the one that if I read it really quick? You're slow to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Zach, you're out.
Yep.
No. Someone lost.
Is everyone good? Results: states ought to eliminate their nuclear arsenals. I'll spec and find anything across. The advantage is proliferation. Nuclear escalation will happen 3 ones first. Separate attacks, false flags that are demand potential launch. All principles of can spend time for fundraising. Even systems regarded the side between press to nuclear levels are properties often to mix. Keep this likely to be press on mental less than 2 cameras. Communication, completely command control. You know, just a second confusion attacks. Highest close geographic cost. So third party after inside false flag operations. Cyber attacks reducing the signal. The micro plus between conventional nuclear state. Might preempt second hypersonic warhead discrimination is possible. Move weapons through too fast and follow regular trajectory, which means countries will think they're being attacked and launch a response by the 19. To China and Russia war, seeking ways to expect the nuclear weapons to tragic hypersonic systems represent the nuclear corruption and from the officials on the goals of the rules to play the decapitation of the U.S. faces testing and episode record contributed years along with impulsive and maybe will attempt to argue how this one the threat of non-nuclear rights of Europe the conflict of U.S. record defense also the local full of public the escalation risk not be underestimated the speed of limited possible critical facilities for countries targeted possible the temple of years for potential to go east and be safe to preempt nuclear attack so secondary proliferation lack secure secondary capabilities that serves bad and increases intentional use of 13. The world states greater probability before bad news rates go through 10 to Western blocks and has to be used for a first state with a nuclear plant by also be able to strike that. That's the second that seven state with small arsenal useful was third. The critical fear surprise act with the wars that one states have confidence and interest spread increase the nuclear terror heavily my armed terrorists increase nuclear weapons and hold the nuclear power for regional stability states with Europe to conflict for feeding regional aggression starting the weapons coming from the present any present result catch up nuclear chains. More nuclear war cause extinction. There's a loss of fire so agricultural destruction. Source 17 in China ability like fire blast reduce the refuge levels compared to what was global weather for a decade 5 million tons of apartments over the last 2 weeks. Innovation more than decade producing this loss is 2050 time unpleasant history thermonuclear weapons without transport then you're talking launch nuclear fast war problem with strategic nuclear weapons for the over 8 million tons of black urban blind 7% of pressure fall below freezing growing season would be limited but human population the impact is not universal nuclear risk reproduces less spatial injustices in targeting procedures Thompson 8 nuclear strike would disproportionately impact like surrounding low quality difference no one target Portland Road northeast of the class by the Mississippi will strike as populated the urban areas with more casualty involved cities with sizable black populations the destination of whitewash loss of black hole which by limited healthcare resource radiation from the communities for generations black people so the space to explore nuclear armies even if we have competing against that is now solvency. The F is a long-term solution. This card explains F implementation, vendor 16 global elimination, nuclear representation, but just also start with F is transparency, public reporting weapons as well as physical software, increase confidence, increase the behavior, disarmament is irreversible, verifiable, transfer, warheads on higher, increase the review, distribution, operation, readiness to face pros, ban nuclear weapons, ban production, physical limit, solid basics, and software, and efforts, moderate disarmament, face process, starting with junction, and with disarmament, nuclear weapons. Now you chill. The standard is maximizing expected bombing. First, active specificity, 8-point aggregation. Every policy benefits on harm result, which also means psych phase action. B-point, no active interest distinction. After seeing no maintenance and active self-governance, actively decide not to act so that there is no mission to utilize the last of reactors to any other affirmative less threats of life. Preclude the ability for moral actors effectively utilize and act on other moral theories instead of constant state of presence. That hates the ideal moral conditions, which other theories suppose 3 extinction first under any affirmative. 8-point precludes the ones with any kind of moral value. You can't confer value to anything from like B-point future generations with infinite magnitude. Look towards future life. Now the method. Technical literacy about nuclear policy spells out deficient necessary in generation of nuclear innocence, ignorance, and further acknowledging. Clearly, the nuclear level could be catastrophic. After sort of level, which can by being on member actions, can be engaged in disarmament, education, knowledge-based actions, policy expertise, called by decision-making, the federal policy issue, expertise founded by political leaders, the epicenter communities, and the disarmament topics associated with high politics, they impose, share passed on by influence and power of the extent thanks to informed citizens. By the end of the war, there's a percentage of development of nuclear dangers, the epicenter disarmament, short line, new generations growing without a percentage of its building, so moving towards the top. They want to see scholarship as supplements resistance because it maps the supply lines and networks that create complex systems, power better, to obtain effectively, that's what causing defense for focusing first lines and fly lines, communications, logistics, all these things, completely for instance, handling physical very partnership. The point is the math is fine, that's the work machine, to intervene, get together, work machine. Those are don't direct political info, how to wonder how to get the more communication, so that's how bad things are, so we can blow up the right networks. Now, refusal to engage with the specifics and institutional politics at this particular moment in history is not really conservative, but affirms the most horrifically anti-black form of political life. So, regardless of posture and strategic here, the posture strategies conservative policy, the reflex, I think, is a message here, the theory of posture, the source, international technology theories, nobody, the professional describes nobody can pretend it's nothing. Hold up, they can class objects after the channel properties, so the purpose of the future of blackness on this passage of the is to be admired and helpless is confused, conceptual with actual narrative compares blackness on radical, but in crazy narrative defines the meaning of suffrage and suffering that is enacted in a certain danger that current president and a treacherous complicit Republican Congress post the US and the world we are facing the actual possibility that long deferred democracy we live towards forced to permanently and human systems are closed to critical and any theory that says so is politically immature and in bad faith means any permutation to such theory and permutation to the affirmative and then the alternative to such theory. According to 15, what we look at the human needs in terms of richness and then we try to get a model based on all that generalization. No one's the being who release one out to be viewed every city based on these people, people, intellect, was one fear, conflict, what's the future testament, based on forecast knowledge, human beings don't have proper prior knowledge, ancestors organizing rebellions. It wasn't for the political maturity saying it's not worth it unless we get to have humans, it's only exist in human action, believes every human is incomplete, every an action goes, have the effect is you make people be critical, understand, failure differently. The rebellions change in distance, it's for some generations. The security dilemma is a robust and intellectually sound explanation of conflict escalation. Jacobson and Helmholtz in 1918. Security limit must have biological safety, security is prevalent, cannot be certain the intense political capabilities against the ultimate means of protection both these are pure defense of the not control force trust the other have safety community, have power to defense, but each trust is can only intend for all one of those who more security with the cycle began the limit structure false off from shared to save the individual or individuals their vicious spiral has mutual positions if strategies are such as striking versus actually subject to the security limit factors might contribute with each state to the rational follow the strategy of defection as opposed to cooperation, defection means the strategy choice of conflict should the states will try to eliminate as estimate other motives and if you think you can potential security compromise the former's arms with that would signal enhancement through capacity and malevolent intentions to states which will status quo were to be in a relationship with higher conflict. Right across.
Do you have a timer? My phone just died.
Oh, I'm only using one on my laptop. Sorry.
Okay, 3 minutes, everybody. Am I a slave?
No.
Why did you call me a slave?
I didn't.
Okay, so I have screenshots from the doc of you reading Afro-Pessimism, where you said, Black minds attracted a binary and vocabulary their active becoming is reminiscent of the 20th century white avant-garde and attention identity from bodily coding results from people deliberately blackening themselves. You argue you read it in Afro-Pessimism. So
I did read that, yes.
Why did you read it?
I read it because it was a good choice in that particular round.
So, like,
and also because the round in question was years ago.
It wasn't years ago.
When was this round?
That looks like Yale last year.
I don't think I read Afro-Pessimism at Yale last year, but I could be wrong.
I mean, I have screenshots, so that's fine. Who told you to read Afro-Pess?
Well, I mean, initially how I found out about the argument was a novice year when I found this random back file that I stumbled upon. It looked interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that means anything in particular.
I mean, who told you to read it?
Well, I'm not sure what that question means. I just made the decision to.
Sure. Okay. Let's talk about the solvency. Actually, starting on the method page, you explain how the Gordon card takes out Afropess.
Yeah, so the Gordon card says that instead of viewing human systems or political systems as a closed circuit, we should instead view them as contingent, or something that has happened and has sealed the possibility of any sort of change.
Okay, but how does that disprove ontology or Afropessimism?
So, I mean, I guess the 1NC hasn't happened yet, but if the 1NC reads Afropessimism, the argument will be then that ontology relies on those systems becoming closed, and the fact that blackness is something that is immutable, not changeable, all those things.
But where in the card do you justify blackness being changeable or immutable?
Yeah, so we cannot have a priori knowledge of what race is, because it is something that is mentally felt, generated, physically felt, generated by particular actions of humans, of systems, etc., etc. Those systems are continuing.
But why does that mean we don't know what race is?
So I guess
if I think all the other, do I not understand what, am I not getting opposed what a black person is?
Right, so obviously that's horrifically anti-black, but our argument is that that system of anti-blackness is something that can change and has the potential to get better, rather than just staying the same.
But where do you prove that it can change?
Well, I mean, the two arguments are for, but also, another claim the card makes is that race is not something that is sort of, something that is, not changing. It's something that is put onto people. For example, when people say the N-word, they are creating a relationship between black people and that particular word, which is what causes anti-blackness.
Let's talk about the Brian card. How do you supplement resistance?
Yeah, so we use logistics and understand how different things work out.
What does it mean to map the supply lines in terms of...
For example, how nuclear weapons get developed, how nuclear weapons are used and produce injustices, or how...
Why does that mean that you have to advocate for states eliminating?
Because, I guess it's not necessarily about that, but our argument is that policy action and analysis is the best way to analyze those, supply lines.
Zach, did you close the door?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's 211 left. That's 5 pages. Can I borrow your stand?
Yeah, sure.
What's your password?
0515.
Setting up the lecture.
How many more?
5. We know when you guys can.
Oh, I got it. I'm
just opening maps.
Yeah. Has Lauderdale just gone? Is everyone good?
Give me 1 second.
Just a second, yeah, sorry. The speed order.
5 in case.
Yeah, I'm all set.
I am all set as well.
First off, is the counterfeit the action or prior binding general consultation of niggas over motivation from the affirmative acts for reading into rather than one of black person in the groups and niggas also or the blackness rather than claiming proximity, blackness or black information the blackness is value to claim solidarity, prior binding general consultation is pretty million 14. The blackness commanded at the foundation about being is if the condition for a revolution and practice centralized blackness singular no force understand blackness that's kind of impossible life, there's equal force back to the explicitly defined blackness global force, the white possible and consulting niggas about mixing uniquely back to the most contribution nuclear evolution of the race from history as African nuclear arsenal without consulting black people, due to the racial competition by the rich and the rich countries in country 16. The back end nuclear committee percent out of the 290 back against the nuclear arsenal weapons and freedom to black people connected African Americans to American from the US to the reading from the Belgian control of the France that they were by the Sahara is really defense of their welcome to the discussion of the Mamadou anti-nuclear movement that African Americans that vanished from the history but the nuclear abolition card is largely wide. African Americans are for one of the broad motivation for the state of largely contribution to the nuclear abolition movement, and don't make any arguments for what they get to within each point. They say the very anti-nuclear is practice with them. We never know whether the time we get a good idea. You don't know whether or not the agency can work or a beneficial B point. And for making the gas driven and you go negative, if the acting force is unethical, so you don't get comfortable because it's reinforced that day. Back in the hell, second off. Regardless of the content of the debate, exactly the manifestation of the base anti-blackness, non-black between African rather than blackness, but without it, do that the side of the report is interaction of aspects all with the regulars that know of the experience, but redundant they can never add anything to discussion point. But if I make they have a perspective to offer study, they have the back have no value as to be academically, or for example, you show them now to hold accountable for being bringing to blackness, and the absence of the flow, they're in a huge like either are they empowering either are they empowering adequate treaty laws or false and you different to one of the from values you shouldn't be reading and versus the first one for either 50% are going to assume that the 1% chance that come out of figures bad 2 point versus the legal practice already because using cannot be taken back you have already been anti-black people norm setting report of larger debate community extends norm for organizing makes unsafe 4-point competition related to beneficial activity no consideration or district because that's access to benefit debate provides and third off. After it's not solvability, nuclear we're going to replace the states with nuclear weapons creations that their allies will magnitude because nuclear power with materials in the hands of millions of the demands and states which can manufacture so that's Dendler and Stadler and Lauderdale 2008. The fundamental weakness of MBTs and prevents the country to produce energy, uranium, and plutonium as long as it does that, so as to declare part of the civility nuclear program, bonus with few players and necessary material, whether uranium and plutonium are available, flashing into devices can explode, with catastrophic consequences not beyond the capacity of any determined individuals, access to substantial resources that the new active organizations insist on developing their own nuclear fuel substantial energy uranium for the sake of self-sufficiency, the facility to energy uranium, the level of the use of batteries and something reactor for essential ability to produce weapons grade uranium, with the facilities are necessary to produce highly enriched uranium and simple plutonium are in place, along with the necessary to turn nuclear capability into nuclear capability. And those nukes get sold by white supremacists have been looking at steel and nukes and prove this to the by departments of energy and competence. And back on the scope, let's get this captured in Epstein in 19. Coming to head component material, he demonstrated to build a dirty bomb just 42 days before the inauguration. Coming to the ties of the white supremacists group, the democratic white supremacist standards, actually the nuclear. The third initiative have argued that the threat of dangerous material being used in America, the black areas is serious. With the wide variety of the use of radioactive material like category 1 threats, regarding the material used in contaminated by major U.S. cities devastating consequences, and often the terrorists we have the hazards of something from the nationwide plan bombing against the outside nuclear plants. She doesn't forge this virgin at the barrier to white supremacists intention requiring a deadly and dirty bomb. They're part of the extremists never battle that supremacy far right hate and online indoctrination. And the children of that they want to acquire their own radioactive weapons because they're after weapons. And fourth off, the middle fascist agency from the African American slave nation and Islamic Jew decided to be the life of the slave savers narrative argument successful in America from the Iranian roots. That's what we're saying. And 18. Blackness cannot be disembarcated for historical studies violent with the latter stats, conceptual time with all this room, my states within a human paradigm that would have the stuff of the slave, historical studies, possible better, continual of the slave, gratuitous violence, common denomination, makes logic, as well as the violence slavery, the violence slavery, the event, the same crafty experience between the modes of master class, after the average superior hierarchies of human that breaks the society person in relation to the antagonist, but violence and the anti-war movement is like a white supremacist theology because when they most people continue to engage in the game, losing the ethical preventing war without using the voices that from illusory and that white supremacy and economics getting on forward. Reflecting on participation in the anti-war movement now, we're present community abuse. I read a public for while repetition about the critical component. The anti-war movement fails so just acting about having an analysis of how white supremacy oppresses people, and just that the people of color would be exploited and the unequal distribution of power was unaddressed. Our students led them to do business and their analysis of the legitimate one and the power to receive this level of social change with their legitimacy earned and anti-blackness outweighs and turns the case into the image of the predictive and subjective verticals, which is in 3. this is each one of us spinning the words environment and some relations of violence. They cannot be out, and not just if you regular like constantly by sorting takes me constantly discipline violence, grip by shit with different vertigo, and they came up political ontology directly from political ontology of being, constantly by without speech based because the spirit of the vertigo this, for the black and white massive suffering and vote neg. The only thing that's the white society structured by necessitating equal violence is burning it to the ground is probably in five the states of Haiti wrote for everything after remember what we call the biggest representative record that's the only the same for everything because everything becomes something found in the United States. Those in the entire world that has become the state of color people that the living can be never be the slaves. Really hard and this is the beginning of this is the properties of plantations the loss of plantation like the fires back home from the undiscovered people by burning down every plantation. Thus, the role of the ballast to reject anti-blackness a point and to shifts with the world which then how black people are able to engage in the space and rejecting the next key understanding of group of they go. They see it back to becoming accessibility, productivity from native and nations are rejecting that the system of people that be able to access the base of asshole the style based on all the framing arguments. This question makes sense in the first place. He point they're making policy making Utah to historically exclude by violence towards black people. I want to start with the objective of anti-blackness community black people thing for the impact activist and I'm not going to go to the top. Go look at the top. On case, overview on substance. One point in their situation is firmly on Needham ZL always make third by secret because of gratuitous violence for that person the material change back into negative 2 point. Also, they comes for all their material by echo and apology excluding material by even stand straight from Martin. So because George Simmons desire to act out against the B point. So the material by the social waste of the powers that causes in the first place. Now onto the app starting on the method page. Actually starting on the util stuff. On active, like one turn is assume that the state is a good idea, and the time is a good idea. The first and the third going to the African state is proves to you that the time is all about the state is the white society that stands against black people, basis and influence this way the disability. Like that's going to are not able to engage in the basis and if the motion to defend the state that causes violence against women, this is like America's a turn. We can argue like reading my fact is prior question even engaging in turn because you need able to exist with enemy we can read that engage in the model and second turn use to make I'm sorry like refer to defend the process that cause violence against in the real world and in the real world they say that I did I was going to interpret how to crossify the non-uniqueness argument. They need to material change about people because they're always taking at the hand of gratuitous violence. At the hand of gratuitous violence group, the argument about debating educational turn. Your model is a lot worse because you teach that debate is the top the race ideology of possibilities in the status quo, and you say that they say that we reject the statement because worried about this. We don't. We reject the we tear down to you go burn it down. We don't complete it. We start to touch the context in the first place. And you say that you just more close at one point. This is aims to all the way to the end of that shape the ways for hope in the status 2 point. This is not actually a take out to look at all the words. We're literally after persons. All the card says is that anybody can change it to disprove ontology. Anybody can change from slavery to masculinity. And still related anti-blackness proves the ontology words. And yeah.
All right, everyone good across?
Yeah.
Why is ontology true?
There's 3 words in the Wilderson card. General dishonor, nation, gratuitous violence.
Okay, let's talk about gratuitous violence. What does gratuitous violence mean / look like?
It's the idea that violence against black people is 1, never ending, and 2, unexplainable. It's the idea that you can never really explain why things happen, like why excessive forms of violence happen to black people, i.e. like why a black person will get shot 34 times. The argument is that like the argument is that like contingent forms of violence have an explanation for them, but there's no very reason for why people enact like such horrific forms of violence against black people.
Okay, why? Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk about the natal alienation argument. What is this argument?
Yeah, the argument is that like after slavery, black people were alienated from their homes in Africa, i.e. that Africans came off the slave ship and are rendered black. They lose ties to their homes in Africa, and this essentially removes them from like the idea of ever having social relationality with other black people. Okay.
Can gratuitous violence be expressed in particular events?
What does that mean?
So you cite the example of the Trayvon Martin stuff on case, right? Is that a particular event which is an instance of gratuitous violence?
Well, we make the argument that gratuitous violence, like every like active violence against black people is gratuitous violence because gratuitous violence, like the world writ large, in this case, gratuitous violence happens to black people.
The consult kind of plan, which black people do we consult?
We say that you just consult groups of black people. You can consult like black activist groups like Black Lives Matter.
Okay, so how would anybody decide between different groups, or would we just consult as many as possible?
I mean, if you're gonna make the argument that consultation is hard, and like that's the whole point of consultation, like actually including black people, actually talking to them,
but
like
what
understanding them.
So, like, what if if I consult 2 black groups and they disagree with each other?
Then you should probably just presume not to do it.
So what if I consult like 10 black groups, 9 of them say one thing and 1 of them says the other? Do I still not do it?
I mean, the whole point of consultation is that you come to an agreement. Like you keep consulting if it's hard.
So what is like the bright line for what an agreement is? Like, what if I get one group that continuously disagrees?
I mean, the argument is that you consult one group. Like you
consult one group?
Consult
so
Black
just
Lives.
consult one group.
Yeah, consult Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
They say whether that's a good idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk about.
But like the whole idea of like yes or no is kind of misunderstanding it because the whole idea is that the consultation itself is a good idea. Like,
Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk about a circumvention argument. What is the how does the sort of impact of white supremacists getting nukes compare to the affirmative impact of huge, massive debt for black and brown populations in urban areas?
I mean, the argument is like one point at the white supremacists are carrying out acts of nuclear terrorism. The impact still happens, but that outweighs on scope because it's like a lot of different white supremacists that act.
Oh, that makes sense. The alternative, what does it look like?
Burning it down. So we say burning it down is just a symbolic rejection of white civil society. This could take place in many instances. It could be physical, i.e. the Baltimore riots and slave revolts in Haiti. It can also be like symbolic, i.e. me burning down everyone I see because it's rooted
So
in
did the slave revolts in Haiti change anything?
Haiti doesn't have slaves anymore.
Okay, cool. So that is an example of a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I hope you don't impact your slaves being free. It's kind of bad.
Sorry. Okay, 143 left. It'll be at just the advantage. I'll get to the method stuff on another page. Then it'll be consult black people counter plan, the disadvantage after pressing another round, the circumvention argument, and the critique. And that's where I'll address the method stuff.
So I have from the office in the Lauderdale, right?
Yeah. And there's analytics, and one part, I'll send it out.
Sorry, where are you starting? You said eventually, yeah?
Yep, the advantage of the app. And then the method will come on the critique code.
Okay.
Alright.
Just give me a second.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Wait.
Alright, is everyone good? Vote affirmative! order to stop extinction of nuclear or hypersonic missiles, mean that there's no discrimination between nuclear and conventional, which causes state retaliation, a massive escalation. The extinction not a unique argument. It's not a good argument. It's a question of the contingent form of violence with the affirmative causes. It's massively anti-black, which is the extension of our spatial targeting argument. It targets urban communities and centers, which is disproportionately black and brown populations. The ontology comes before argument. We'll answer this argument on the critique, so you can go to it, the aspect argument. This just says the state good bad to be, but you should go on YouTube because it's intuitive that death is bad. Otherwise, it would be horribly anti-black to say that black people lying is not a bad thing, which is obviously bad. And no matter what they conceded is key for aggregation, concedes to determine between different populations, and extinction is still a really, really bad impact. They conceded outweighs everything. This is only irreversible impact. Window framework argument means we should instantly win the round. Now, the consult kind of one. First, homogenization, depending on who you consultate from the community, you might or may not say to do the utilitarian thing, where you from the second respectability, people will selectively choose which people to talk to based on how respectable. So that causes intercommunal violence because it prioritizes one group of black people above the other group of black people, which is the cross-articulation of the kind of third feel-good design. Consultations, infinite aggressive talking to people can't sell back for centuries of cause. It's just alleviates guilt and encourages passivity for exhaustion. So the catalog presumes that people always have to talk to that group of people, i.e., group of black activists or people, forces people to exhaust themselves to fit within the demands of civil society, i.e., endless black activists who face endless consultations with white people or non-black people, which is obviously bad because it forces them to have to keep on talking. The 5 per meter to the kind of like consultations normally means 6 per meter kind of like, if they say yes argument, if they want to say yes, it's argument self-functional competitive because there's also kind of functional combinations because the kind of like just resolved in modesty that represents topic education, friends research into the intricacies of nuclear weapons. They're arguing about why watching the movements is not true. That you should not evaluate the question of who we consult as a result of the affirmative, the impact of the affirmative, which is the framework argument. We'll go from the other page. Now, the trust is set. First reading afterwards in sophomore year is on the motivation to exploration for kids who often don't know the implications of what they're saying. Punishing ignorance with every not being an L is a terrible one in high school setting. 2, only non-black people are able to treat Africans as a theory, which is their own argument. Whilst black people undergo the experience of anti-blackness, the logic of Africanism as they read a couple of facts. Black readers reading Africanism like Dr. recreates the verdict analysis performance of trials of psychic grown up invaders who don't constantly want to talk about their anti-blackness. B1, turn its key to unlearning anti-blackness science, unraveling my religion, white wife, the day-to-day interactions with Africanism literature from the white academy, not co-option, but build the alternative as a scholarly and expert practice. 3, the model produces authenticity check, enforcing constant conversations in the high school's personal identities often conflicted by the propositionality isn't productive and probably fine. 4, if Africanism is true, the room is standard debate always profiteering off black. The only question remains is whether having non-black invaders come from the other side of the library is good, which it is. 5, constantly example force black invaders constantly dig through wastely wikis and constantly count other 6, creates dogmatic rates for black invaders read Africans, non-black invaders have to respond black and neutral community understanding force PRLs and just space community visions, which pushes people outside debate the reps first argument. Actually, this will be the framework argument on the page. The circumvention totally feels self-sustained with the talking constantly about the minutiae of policy implementation instead talking about the impact, the actual scenario analysis, the impacts of whether or not nukes are good or bad, which is the key part of the topic. The key field destruction of physical materials and especially special that white supremacists can't steal because we constantly inspect the facilities to see whether or not they're actually developing into usable weapons because the app outweighs a magnitude, even if so there's a little bit of circumvention. That doesn't mean that everybody instantly develops it, and they can't ever estimate the impact of the affirmative. Now, the affirmative, the role of policy going for the design that doesn't benefit the negative one links to the planet, but all that special curriculum engagement in classroom language exists, they want to see the framing itself serving arbitrary rights. Often the second realism is true states operating in anarchy stress will inevitably by for how only the app explains these nuances in the context of war, which solve the root cause argument. Extend 115 black is not on top, they drop the ones within the card. Their responses assume that there's no one, but I'll extend it here. First systems, human systems like politics and relational systems, human things not because humans are not incomplete close or indeterminate. Human systems and all their complexity copy to either. 2, phenomenological racial grouping of categories like black and white arbitrary groups that don't exist a priori. You never see race walking these things. Blackness copy a priori ontological, but there's see the theory that's never reconstructing categories the same thing colonizers fantasy is what allows to present their street forecasting. What they say and what they say that blackness will be ontological forever across time stage less than perfect prior knowledge that we don't have futures scale like unpredictable forward pillars don't mature the project American anti-blackness to 500 years control will change just as long as it's expanded the theory of a political immature because it says findings that worth almost like they paid off in their lifetime. Even gains a limited out the point is that they change conditions for change for future generations. For Pascal's wager, if the right there's nothing you do to solve the violence debate, and there's a reason they have uniquely increases, but anyways they're wrong means they redefine anti-black violence forever. And while they extend this village, but they conflate the theoretical conception of blackness with the practical accepted. In this with the Republican majority in Congress, they see the political which causes massive violence.
Wait, so you only read the 1 point, or you both read out of the degree empirics?
No.
Okay. I have 157. Your phone keeps looking. There's gonna be Afropest, the Trust Dissad, the Circumvention Dissad, and then the consultancy.
So the K, what's after that? The trust is that, right?
Yeah, Trust Dissad, Circumvention Dissad, Consult. Okay, very soon.
Oh yeah. Please.
We know when we're using
Starting with the K, I'm not going for it. It's the role about rejecting anti-blackness. They are giving much arguments for why this has to become before they're all about they. So they're all about to go for the better, but they have one way. As the issue was the better, the beta from the first day, there's a reason to come back to the there's going to be so worse, but they're already engaged in all the first time they're rejecting anti-blackness again. They see the people that are they see the people that are all about that it's going to accessibility to run all the way. The first that they're not engaged with this. Sometimes anti-blackness, some of feel like consistently calling you saying racist slurs around. I'm not going to be able to want to engage in it. So before we worry about engaging, talking about the better, the haters, you have to start prioritizing access the sequence. They see the argument that you tell inherently aspect and just by people doing racist things, if you go to look towards each other, you have to start rejecting in order to stop the erasure of black people, actually ensure that they're actually included in their impact calculus now. And I'm gonna see the perm about this test of competition, and don't let me go with any offensive arguments from the case. It's all right that I'm going for K in the first place now on the second off. I'm not going for integers. Don't buy any of the arguments. These all arguments all rely on that I'm going for. I'm not going to say that they should lose. I'm going to see all the defensive arguments about why it's just as bad. But okay, basically, don't go into this way. These are not independent voters in the 1AR. I'm not going for it. There's no put me down. Third off, I'll consider the durable fiat solves. I'm not going for this off. Don't let them vote on the impact yet. Console. Extend our count of anti-CF shit to control prior binding general left each of the niggas of the whether we should affirm the affirmative acts for reading it. But anyways, they were supposed to make this place talking about this matter because like active groups, I need with the button about small but they have etc. to my either time and it's possible to consult for them. These are the multiple examples of how the what is because of provided around and there are two ways you vote negative CP. First, extend rating Marilla voting on negative CP the act turning to blackness. Pretty much uniquely key for resting actually back on backing you down to complicity within anti-blackness as sort of about psycho consulting backing before the planet necessary to show that the act is not rooted into like logic or practice doesn't has to come with the prior action of voting for the act. Second is Gunter. They for decades, with black people. Because the combination about that ever actually been responsibility of the right often is always your case. The pre-fiat label becomes prior to the started with any reason on the app, at least before the anti-black, you automatically get the question of accessibility and don't let them make any argument to why they get to the case or why the case becomes prior because the argument is that it's a party that you did not come people before the round and the app's not ethical anti-black movement you should have run it in the first place so they don't get any anyway in the case already already there and except the people for why they can't they get the way they can sell their priors to black people know whether after the good idea about will you get for black people less should be episode to all their impact you can go negative cases right here after them so they get next to it about next to it and know whether the plans that you can assume is not continue the process of commodifying black work and it that's how the kind of a lot better we don't improve also about the action in the decision making process of the app into the argument here that looking at the ground for the anti-nuclear campaign as far as they're not something about your anti-nuclear mineral will be good for so you can presume that here in the towards we're going to kind of good enough to actually get the improvement in the decision making process we can presume that it solves the app a lot better now under their arguments on modernization, you can talk to actors with like black independence and not much. I think anyone second is turn AC to that of a modernization because you're grouping you're using all the anti-nuclear that came before they said that people talk things that they don't have to know. It's just all being by you talking about it's not about you choosing respectable groups. It's just by you. It's just about you talking about groups. And second is even if you're that there's no actual evidence. Look at your full even if it's true. Certain actors have that situation acceptability to act numbers. They already feel good. This at one turn. The AC that will feel good. They say that the one is going to help people that are ever actually consulting them asking me whether it's a good idea and second it's not true it's not about feeling it's about having an uncomfortable conversation about people this is not about just saying listening about people it's about actually getting to hear what they have to say and using it to determine whether or not the plan is a good idea it's not just using just talking about people in order to prove they're not into that. And on exhaustion is at one point that black people can just say no to statements. There's no actual word for this. But 2 point that exhaustion definitely does not outweigh all these concerning factors and on permit the CP and certain CP say yes. Ask whether to say yes or no is the wrong. Wait, sorry. I'm the first one for the CP. This is not normal means. The whole point of the act is that it happens immediately. Insofar as the entity has happened already without consultation, there is no way for this to be normal ways if it is, and then this is voting to efforts because it's because a moving target because they can sever at the immediacy of the plan. And on the second part of the CP, April Burton did a consulting and make so that the CP calls for a prior consultation between the ACD and black, and they can't come back. B point, you have the consultant before this, and you have an insight and usually do after into the personal logical because you're actually engaged by the consultation. C point is actually competitive, and what happens is immediately after some value consultation the process is different and not normal means. With the animation to the and the CP would also voting because the personality solving consultation comes first. There's always functional competition because the super is key to culture of voice and solving the effects of the app. The CP will only have but the question is going after even react ethical consultation without winning a say yes argument concerning the CP, because the more study and because the proof that the for your consultants complicated and D point, so much of it now they say yes or no, but the consultation is nothing the same as the rest of the pan. The consultation has to come first in order to argue that as far as you get without the consultation, it's inherently anti-black and unethical and they say this is voting issue for government. This is a voting issue for government. Have a return. That moves around a good idea. The argument of black flags. But why not black lose fairness versus black is good to recognize the inherently fair participation for black people. I just have to code perhaps I have to show that those grounds is a good idea. Because recognize the inherently unfairness that get recognize the inherent unfairness towards black people. And there's a couple more arguments in the book. Yeah. Group all their arguments. Okay, here's how the rem breaks down. You're going to be voting on the consult CP. We're winning two net benefits to it. First, is that consulting black people surrenders to blackness, which is a good idea because we're able to actually talk to black people about how they feel about the plan, which in itself is a good idea because black people all should have the academic spaces where we're able to actually determine whether or not the act will be good for black people. Second is consulting black people about nukes is uniquely good because it will set the groundwork for nukes. After the consultation, you just commodify and black work and reducing the fungible objects. This means insofar as they don't consult, then they can't really act because the act is inherently anti-black. They shouldn't have read it in the first place and don't buy any of the purpose because they rely on they sever the act's immediacy, which is a bad one. I wrote down my time. It's 1:43. Starting. Okay. It'll be the critique on like the framing arguments, the affirmative, the counterpart. Is everyone good? Yeah. Is everyone good? Here's how the framework breaks down. If I win any risk that you should weigh the case that you should instantly vote affirmative, the counterclaim does not guarantee resulting affirmative, and when that extinction is irreversible impact, even 1% risk means that there's no such thing as future value, which is that any risk that the counterclaim does not result in the affirmative, the counterclaim puts other steps in front of the affirmative is cost as a time frame where the nuclear war can happen, and means that any risk like the counterclaim doesn't result in the affirmative. Like any risk that doesn't result in the affirmative ensures that there's at least a 1% chance of the affirmative extinction is irreversible in outweighs. Will win framework. Going for the clash and engagement argument for submitting systems to AC ensures less discussions on the ensures worse discussions from the counterclaim debate in the affirmative versus or critical engagement. That means that's an episode in whether or not actually winning or losing. Because I couldn't be sure because because the round was skewed to begin with. The round was skewed to begin with. Then also is key to portable skills. It links their role development because it ensures us developing portable strategies versus anti-blackness. Otherwise, it allows the negative to just muting arguments that move the educational value of the affirmative for 7 minutes and then wait on things which ensures that there's no clash or engagement. The sort of races in the back of the argument through the first point, the second point about races, so it's an external circumstance that justifies other things. Obviously, there would be intervention in that case, but that's not true because you didn't win the libidinal drive argument, which is there's no reason to judges are implicitly racist, and the racist source of exceptional circumstance, which is obviously an exception to all norms of debate, not just the frame debate, but whether revolution resisting anti-blackness or the affirmative, because resisting anti-blackness is a question of the flow, not those external circumstances. The util is inherently bad. Or you can see that util comes from intuition to tell us that death is bad, and biological death matters in outweighs because it reflects what you're kind of saying. Saying something else is the worst form of anti-blackness, saying it shouldn't come first because it legitimates black people dying, which is obviously super terrible. It outweighs on magnitude because it's an educational model that we should not support. That we should not support. Now the app. Consider the entirety of the affirmative cause of extinction, hypersonic, lack of hypersonic discrimination causes retaliation, and escalates an ultimately nuclear war spatial target means that there's a specific harm against black people, which means it recreates anti-blackness. The affirmative is tied to that impact, which is that you should evaluate this particular countback. Couple arguments here. First, they made a strategic mistake cross-checking authenticity testing from the other page. That takes out the entirety of the countback. You can't tell who's black and non-black, and doing so causes psychic violence because the force people to question their identity. It causes non-black people to consult other non-black people, which is able to cause circumvention because it's terminal defense of the countback because they're not able to actually consult black people or ensure that they are black. Second, causes horrible psychical violence, which outweighs even if there's some input that we can get from black activists. It ensures that it ensures this sort of exhaustion argument. It supercharges that argument because it ensures that non-black people are consulting everyone at every single moment. We're also going to the homogenization argument, consulting a homogenization respectively argument. One black group and applied to everyone else, puts value on one group above the other, which is also violent, causes things like oppression, limits, and super bad things because the affirmative doesn't know who to consult or how to consult. It's terminal defense. It's terminal defense. The content. Lastly, they can see the realism argument. Realism is true. The affirmative is an accurate explanatory logic. It takes out the argument about testing whether or not the affirmative is a good idea on a policy level because we have ensured that our scenario analysis of the app is accurate. Conceding that argument means that even if that is true, you should still vote affirmative. They can see that you should still vote affirmative. Not going for terms. This episode apply. Framework takes this argument out. Authenticity should be terminal defense, straight conceded, so always in strength and length. Right.